Oh, it's live, pal.
Sorry.
We will ban you from the Summerfest.
Right here in the Silverdome.
Jeff Harvey.
And I have half the brain that you do.
Welcome everybody to Wrestle Hunks Weekly. We are coming off the heels of a very eventful WrestleMania weekend, and we've got plenty to talk about. So, as always, I'm Brody Price, and I'm joined by the very best WrestleMania watch party host I've ever encountered, Nathan Marlowe.
Oh, I'm all wrestled out.
Yeah, it's
tough getting those M&Ms and chips together,
especially at 6 a.m, for sure.
You know, it's a hard slog.
But yeah, I think today's like the first day I haven't watched any wrestling since like last week, probably Thursday last week, maybe.
Yeah, there's been a lot of content to catch up on.
Yeah, it's been a lot. So yeah, we've obviously got a lot to talk about with WrestleMania and all the other events that have happened over the weekend. So we've also got top 5 and the Q&A segment later on in the show that we'll get to. So we'll dive right in though. We've got NXT Takeover New York that happened on Friday night, WrestleMania weekend. Pretty good show overall. The first match was the War Raiders defeating Ricochet and Aleister Black to retain the NXT Tag Team titles. Nat, what did you think of this one?
Oh, good match. You know, we're not big, huge War Raiders fans, but they had another great match, and I was lucky enough to actually get this prediction right.
Yeah, I think I got it as well from memory. I can't remember, but it was a very good match. I think I had a look at the times, and they went fairly long, so it was a pretty good effort for this match, and
yeah,
a very good send off for Black and Ricochet. So that was very emotional at the end as they said goodbye to the crowd.
Yeah, it was.
The match after that was one that I'm sure you were looking forward to, as Velveteen Dream defeating Matt Riddle for the NXT North American Championship. What do you think of the way this one panned out?
Yeah, I think it was a really good match. I think it's hard to. I thought it was always going to be hard for them to have a really good match, since Matt Riddle was obviously he's not a technical wrestler, and Velveteen, he's still got some things to work on, but I think they pulled out a great match, and luckily I picked right here, and Velveteen retained. I
don't know why, but like we all picked Velveteen, the three of us, and when we were watching it, I felt like that was the complete wrong answer. It was just the way Matt Riddle looked. He looked strong. And
yeah, it felt like he was getting really angry. He was going to just fuck Velveteen up.
Yeah, for some reason, none of us really thought, like, you know, this is Matt Riddle. This guy's very tough, and he's obviously going to be a top star in NXT. And yeah, somehow we got it right, even though it didn't look like it was going to go that way. What do you think of the ending of the match, and then like the post-match sort of bro bump that they encountered?
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I could have done without it. I'll be real.
Yeah,
I think they could have just left it and had Dream celebrate over the top. I think you lose it a little bit of that cockiness.
What'd you think of Velveteen's entrance?
I mean, that's how the King enters. That's how the Statue of Liberty enters the Barclays Center.
Yeah.
So it was pretty good. The gear was a little bit of a letdown. It was inspired by someone. Was it Macho Man?
I can't remember. Yeah,
I don't know, but it was good.
After that match, we got an absolutely brutal match between Walter and Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne's 685-day reign, I believe it was, ended this past weekend. Walter getting the win. What did you think of this one?
Well, besides me crying at the end of it, it was a brutal physical match, completely different to any other on the card. We kind of knew this would be the style they'd go for, and I feel like it was a good way to break up the card with a completely different match. It was more of a brawl kind of style. It was more just hitting each other lots, and it was a very similar match to on the same night at the G1. It was kind of like the Okada and Jay White kind of match.
Yeah, just
absolutely slogging it out. And if you're asking me, the wrong person won. But Walter's the future. He's a big, strong lad, and I'm happy for him.
Yeah, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. It was very, very stiff. A lot of chops, obviously, which we thought we were going to get with Walter, and Like you said, the whole card felt like every match was very different to anything else on the card, which was a good feel.
They structured it out well.
Yeah, they really did. So congratulations to Walter. That's a huge effort. But Pete Dunne, 685 days. That's very impressive.
He's the fifth. I think it's the fifth longest reigning champion in WWE ever.
That's very impressive. So yeah, Walter will be the new face of the NXT UK brand.
Oh, all the best to him.
After that, we had a fatal 4-way match for the NXT Women's Championship. Shayna Baszler defending against Io Shirai, Bianca Belair, and Kairi Sane. She retained by, I think, Bianca Belair tapped out to, I've forgotten her submission, but she tapped out and Baszler retains. What were your thoughts on this one?
All round, just disappointment. Just, I thought this was the Basil's time to lose the title, and geez, not only did we not get that, we got her defeating Bianca Belair as well. Yeah. Jeez.
Heavy favorite in the poll we ran for who people thought were going to win in their predictions. Bianca Belair, obviously the favorite, and then there was
Bianca,
some Shirai and Kairi Sane picks, but for the most part, I think everyone thought Baszler was going to lose, and she retains in pretty convincing fashion, making Bianca Belair tap out. So
yeah,
it's an interesting choice, but that's now Bianca Belair's definitive first loss, I suppose. So
yeah,
it is what it is. But we move on now. The main event went for almost 40 minutes. It was a 2 out of 3 falls match for the vacant NXT Championship. Johnny Gargano winning the final 2 falls against Adam Cole, and he becomes the new NXT champion. What were your thoughts on this, Nat?
We were shocked by this. I think the first 2 falls were a little bit slow, as I think a lot of people have said, but geez, it grabbed everyone with that last fall, just the near falls, the near finishes, and geez, we all wanted Adam Cole to win. But it also felt like, Johnny's starting to become, it's almost like a face he's becoming here. And geez, how could we have thought Johnny was going to win when the Undisputed Era came out?
Yeah, so I mean, he beat all 4 of them basically. The whole group couldn't stop Johnny, and
yeah, they're all goobers now.
A pretty special moment. The crowd was very happy that Johnny won. I think we are as well. Like it's obviously a cool moment for Johnny, but then Candace coming out as well. It was obviously pretty emotional, and it's happened in the Barclays Center, which is pretty much like the
Tomato Ciampa.
Yeah, Ciampa came out as well. That's right. Yeah, so pretty special all around.
Yeah, and it was his first win in the Barclays Center from 4 tries.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive as well that he hasn't won one yet at the Barclays. So overall, I mean, pretty good card. I don't know whose grades it were, some website, but I think they gave the tag match, the Velveteen and the Fatal 4-Way an A, and then the Walter and the Gargano matches A+. So
yeah, I agree with that.
If you go with that, is this the best takeover they've ever put out?
I'll be honest, it's probably the best takeover I've ever seen. I mean, there's a few I haven't seen, but yeah, I think this is the best one.
It's hard to argue that. They had a great one last WrestleMania season in New Orleans. That was very good, but I don't know, this might be the best one they've ever had. I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
So that sort of covers it for NXT Takeover New York. We had the G1 Supercard the following night, same night as the Hall of Fame. Did you want to talk about the Hall of Fame at all, or should we?
I mean, not much to talk about really. No. Bret Hart got attacked by Shawn Michaels. I mean, a fan. I mean, fuck that fan.
Yeah,
he got fucked up though.
Awesome right hand by Dash Wilder.
I don't think there's much to say. I think just typical Hall of Fame when the boss goes on last. They got the biggest shine. The Honky Tonk Man was pretty good, but I thought the speech that stand out the most was Tori Wilson's. I think that left an impact, and her father only passed away a couple of days before that.
It was cool that she sort of made it about making a message towards people rather than saying like how great my career was or making it about herself. She sort of, had a purpose for her speech, which was really cool.
It was for the Divas division that had been oppressed.
Yeah, that's true. So shout out to Tori Wilson, but also fuck that fan, because why would you tackle a 60-year-old man? That makes no sense.
Exactly right.
So we're getting stuck into the G1 Supercard. Ring of Honor and New Japan put together their first show ever at Madison Square Garden. during the pre-show, Kenny King won the Honor Rumble, so he will get a future World Championship match in Ring of Honor, I believe. He last eliminated Jushin Thunder Liger. So, did you want to elaborate on this anymore, or?
Yeah, I'll just go into it very quickly. We got to see the return of the Great Moon. That was a fucking huge pop. There's a lot of Ring of Honor scrubs to make up the numbers. To be real, probably Yano. I think Colt Cabana got the probably the biggest pop when shit, what's his name? He gave up his spot.
Oh, I'm not too sure. I didn't see this.
Is Yano? No, Yano's the one. Yano gave up his spot for Colt Cabana to be in the Rumble.
Nice.
And it was Taguchi, and then Colt Cabana was getting attacked, so Fighter Yano just came into the match. It was a big shit show, and I guess you're not gonna have Liger win, so Ken King made a bit of sense. He gets a title shot at some point.
That's exactly right. So Jeff Cobb won the opener against Will Ospreay. He is now the Never Openweight champion as well as the Ring of Honor TV champion. So, what do you think this means for Jeff Cobb going forward?
Y'all, you guys said I was crazy for thinking Jeff Cobb, and I think he's the future of Ring of Honor, and now it seems like Japan as well.
Yeah, definitely.
He's also making his first appearance down under World Series Wrestling.
He is. I don't know if I made mention of that to you, but I was.
You have not.
Talk to you. Yeah, I was going to talk to you about that, but that's pretty cool. He's coming down here.
Yeah.
So Dalton Castle lost in very convincing fashion to Rush. Did you pronounce it differently? I feel like they pronounce it
Roosh.
Roosh. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Fuck, okay. Well, Roosh lost.
It's weird.
Yeah, Roosh beat him very convincingly, and after the match, Dalton Castle, you could feel it coming, and he turned on the boys, which made me very upset.
I think this review's got longer than the match.
It honestly has. What do you think of Dalton turning on the boys?
Yeah, it was just a matter of time, I guess. Like the character got a little bit stale. Let's be real. After he had to drop the title and lost its mystique and stuff, so yeah. I think it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, he did lose. He ran out of steam there towards the end of the title run. So that sucks. I mean, that was one of my favorite things about watching Ring of Honor back when the Bucks and Adam Cole and Cody and all them were there. Was Dalton Castle. I was always excited to see him. So I don't know what this means for him going forward.
Hey, the boys screwed the boys. They shouldn't have left the fan in the ring.
That's true. After that, Kelly Klein regains the Women of Honor World Championship, so congratulations to her.
Once again, correct.
Yeah, you're nailing it. And then we got, I think, so correct me if I'm wrong, but Juice Robinson was attacked in the backstage area before the New York City street fight with Bully Ray, which led to a returning Flip Gordon answering the challenge of Bully Ray.
But with Mark Haskins.
Yes, so this turned into a six-man with Flip Gordon, Juice Robinson, and Mark Haskins against Bully Ray, Silas Young, and Shane Taylor in a six-man New York City street fight. You enjoyed this one, did you not?
I actually enjoyed it, and did you watch this?
I had it on. I wasn't really paying attention. I
think Brandon said he hated it.
When I saw Flip getting just battered with the kendo stick, and he sort of did the Tommy Dreamer spot where he's like, keep hitting me with the...
Keep hitting me, yeah.
That was cool. I enjoyed that. It makes Flip look like a badass, so that was pretty cool.
It was okay. I just like the chant of "You're not Devon" to Shane Taylor. I'm a bit over this Bully Ray and Flip Gordon shit, I'll be real with you, but I thought he retired about 3 years ago, Bubba. Yeah. But, it happened, and I guess it was a cheap way to get a hardcore match in New York.
Hopefully this means Flip moves forward into the world title picture as one of the top baby faces for the company. I think that would make sense.
Yeah, agreed.
We had a triple threat match for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Dragon Lee wins the title, beating Taiji Ishimori and Bandito. This was a fun, quick-paced match. I sat through this. This is one that I wanted to watch, and a lot of spots, a lot of high spots, but these guys tore it down. What'd you think of this one?
No, I agree with you, but just disappointed that I really thought Bone Soldier was going to hold it, but Bullet Club had a bit of a mixed kind of night.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, after this, the Guerrillas of Destiny retain their IWGP Heavyweight Tag titles as well as winning the Ring of Honor Tag Team titles.
Yeah.
They beat Evil and Sonata, Villain Enterprises, and the Briscoe Brothers. But the main thing to come out of this match was that Enzo and Big Cass sort of rushed from the crowd and got into a brawl with the Briscoes and Bully Ray. So, what do you make of the match and then the aftermath?
No, the match wasn't too bad. Now that everything's come out, it's more clearly Enzo and Cass were brought in by Ring of Honor, but apparently the Japan wrestlers have not been told. That's what the word on the street is. Japan wrestlers weren't told, and that's why Tama Tonga's tweets are the way they are, and they clearly did not know. And it doesn't look like GOD will face Enzo or Cass anytime soon. The way they reacted.
I mean, they took away from their moment as well. Like
Yep.
I know the cameras focused on God because of that, but God couldn't really celebrate because the crowd wasn't focusing on that. They were focusing on the brawl going on outside the ring, and
yeah,
it is what it is. For me, what are your thoughts on Enzo and Cass signing with Ring of Honor? First of all,
you know what? I like it. I like them as wrestlers. Enzo, maybe rap Chris over Bruz. But just accept you need to be a wrestler, but you need to be in a tag team because you're not a great wrestler. Yeah. I like this. Everyone fucking hates them, and I think they'll do well in Ring of Honor. I think that's a good setting for them to start.
I think that it makes sense that for Ring of Honor to bring them in because of the buzz that they'll create.
Yep.
It adds more bodies into that tag division. But in saying that, Ring of Honor has always been known as a company that has great wrestling matches, and
yeah.
I don't know how this is going to play out. Whether or not the tag teams like the Briscoes and
Ring of Honor needs something to stand out because then you got AEW. They're going to have good wrestling. Yeah. So maybe this is their way of doing it.
Yeah, that's true. It's interesting to see. I'm hopeful that this works out for them. I don't care for Enzo outside of the ring, but he is entertaining when he's on the mic in the ring. He always has been. So it'll be
we're definitely not getting GOD versus them though.
No, I wouldn't think so. No.
Just some other notes. Just obviously PCO's entrance as Frankenstein
was awesome.
But that's where I really got really peed off. The production of the show was terrible.
Yeah, I mean
it wasn't good.
That's the criticism I think of Ring of Honor. Like the wrestling has never been a problem for me ever since I started watching. It's just the quality. When you watch a Ring of Honor show, especially after you watch WWE for so long, you realize how good the production is in WWE. So
I thought you pay MSG to use their cameras. I thought that's how it worked.
They might have. I'm not too sure.
That's why WWE doesn't run MSG. That's the whole point. Like they have to pay for their production.
They have to use their workers. I know that. Like
yeah.
So I mean, maybe they don't know how to. Their production team doesn't know how to run a WWE show. I'm not too sure, or a wrestling show in general. I'm not too sure.
It just it wasn't great. But there's also the fucking powerbombed PCO on the outside. That thought killed him, and then he just sat up like the fucking Undertaker. Oh.
He sat up and then he just went back to dying after that. It was awesome.
So good.
I'm a big fan of PCO after watching this match, if I'm being honest.
He's putting in hard work.
I mean, what did he do? Did he do a swanton to the apron or a 450 or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Awesome. He's really, really good.
Unreal.
He's over 50 years old and he's just killing it. I love it. I reckon he's really good. So the next match we had was Zack Sabre Jr. retaining his British Heavyweight Championship against Hiroshi Tanahashi. You have some pretty strong thoughts on Zack Sabre, no?
I was watching it and I just had to message you. It was just, I don't watch a whole lot of Zack Sabre Jr., so I was just watching it and I was just fucking impressed. The amount of submissions he could do, the way he can contort his body, it's unreal. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, no, I've seen some of his work, but you're right. He is very, very talented in the ring, and a nice little match with Tanahashi. I don't think it was the match of the night by any means, but it was nice to see. And
yeah, it wasn't an amazing match, and it was definitely a case of Tanahashi Sabre Jr. But I think if anything, this just really put over Zack for me, and made a bit of a fan out of me.
The next match was for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. Tetsuya Naito losing his title to Kota Ibushi. What are your thoughts on the new champ?
Yeah, I picked it, so that's good. I'm not a big fan of Naito. I've made that pretty clear. I don't get him. But I didn't hate the match. I mean, Ibushi always puts in a good showing, and not bad.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. My favorite thing about Naito is that he throws his championship belt around. So that's I don't know. I agree with you. I don't really understand it. So, but
that reminds me, Tama Tonga threw the Ring of Honor belt.
Yeah. Did you watch the full press conference between?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it's entertaining stuff. So after this match, we saw a triple threat ladder match for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Jay Lethal defending against Marty Scurll and Matt Taven. Matt Taven winning his first World Championship, which is a long time in the making for Ring of Honor. So what were your thoughts on the leader of the kingdom winning the title?
Somehow, some way, I've become a Matt Taven fan.
Really?
Holy fuck, he did it so good in this match. Where should I start from this match? I think they really made Jay Lethal seem irrelevant in this match. I don't know. It's just something about Jay Lethal was a bit off. I really liked that they didn't involve the Kingdom.
Yeah.
It was just a straight up three men. There was some really sick spots. There was Marty breaking the fingers of Taven, so he couldn't climb up the ladder. Yeah. He fell off. The finish, it was like, which way could it go? They had the ladders hanging off both sides, so you didn't really know. And then, well, geez, Matt Taven shocked the world. Everyone's booing him. And I will say, did have a good entrance song.
Do you like the Kingdom song?
Yeah, it was good. The live piano was good.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I agree with you. It sort of felt like it was Taven or Scurll for me. And I think you're right. With not having the Kingdom out there to help him win, it just makes it that Matt Taven's the champ definitively. But then Lethal still has that we can still make the claim that because it was a ladder match, he never got beat for the title, so they can still have that rematch down the road. But
and now he's the real champ.
Exactly. I don't know if was he still carrying around the purple championship?
No, he didn't. I didn't come to the ring with it, at least.
Well, yeah, now he's the real champ, so that's really awesome to see. Matt Taven winning his first world title.
Do you think we see Marty leaving?
Yeah, I think now that he's not the champion, I think it makes sense.
And then it's only a matter of time if they lose the 6-man belts too.
Yeah, they'd have to. I don't know who.
Phil and Enterprise has gone from having everything to having nothing.
I mean, it's interesting. Will they keep Brody King and PCO? I mean, I think they're probably contracted, but they keep them as a tag team going forward.
I couldn't imagine PCO has a long contract. Yeah, I mean, Brody King might, but I don't know about that. But at least they still have World Series Wrestling tag titles.
That's true. So the main event, the match that most people were probably looking forward to, Kazuchika Okada has regained the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. He defeated Jay White in a match went over 30 minutes, I believe. It was a long boy, but it was a solid match. What did you think of the main event?
Well, I picked it. I told you it was going to happen. They were going to do the exact same story they did with the Young Oak. They're gonna have Jay White win it eventually back and have a huge title reign. I loved this match. Just I don't know everything about it. It felt like Pete Dunne and Walter, but it was that on like technical wrestling steroids. I mean, I'm a big Jay White fan, so he did really well in this match, and I liked the spot near the end. He faked his exhaustion. I like the call from the commentator who's like, Jay White thinks he's smashing him. And then he plays Possum, and just a great match. And I think they did need, personally, I wanted Jay White to win, obviously, but I think for the moment for the MSG, having Okada win was the right decision.
Yeah, I think so. That was a huge moment.
Also hit him with 50 Rainmakers.
Yeah, he hit a lot of Rainmakers.
Kind of made that move look like shit.
I don't mean, every time I watch New Japan, I don't really see any outside interference from memory, but I thought Gato played a big part in this sort of...
Huge part in this, yeah.
So that was sort of surprising to me, but, they are the heels, so it made sense. I didn't have a problem with him getting involved. It just surprised me a little bit, so... But yeah, like you pretty much said everything that I could have said. Great match, and Okada winning was a huge moment, and I can't wait for Jay White to win the title back down the road eventually and have hopefully a long reign with it.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, what do you think of the card?
Yeah, it was not bad. There was just, if you're comparing it directly, you probably shouldn't compare it, but if you're comparing it to Takeover New York, I'd go with Takeover just because I think that's a more complete show. But I think if you repackaged the different matches for the Supercard, I think it would be a really good show.
Yeah, it obviously went 5 hours or whatever it did. So if with Takeover going, I think just over 3, maybe it's so easy to watch because you're watching 5 really great matches. Whereas this, it had some filler matches. It had some stuff where you probably didn't need it and stuff like that, but it still had some great wrestling, which was awesome to see on this weekend.
Look, I could have done with should have had got rid of the Tanahashi Sabre Jr. match and had Sabre Jr. with Ibushi and Naito. I would have liked that.
Yeah, that'd be something for sure. Well, I think we should get stuck into WrestleMania, and that is obviously the.
Jeez, we got a lot of stuff.
We have a lot to talk about, so we'll start with the kickoff show. And unfortunately, I missed the opening match. I didn't realize it was going to start so early.
They went straight into a match, pretty much.
The crowd was still filing in, so I was on my way to your house as this match was taking place. But we do have a new cruiserweight champion, Tony Nese, defeating Buddy Murphy in the opener. What were your thoughts on this one?
Did you go back and watch this at all?
Yeah, I watched it yesterday.
What did you think of Buddy Murphy's entrance? It was very dark.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard. I would have liked to have seen him get a bit of a better entrance. Like, I don't like them coming out the sides.
It's like they forgot to put the lights on.
Yeah.
But it was a good match. It was pretty quick, I reckon. But I think they really, with the time they had, they really showed what the crowds could do. And I think this makes Buddy Murphy look really good. And I think he's onto bigger and better things now. He did what he could for the division.
Yeah, I thought he was great. And I think all matches on the pre-show got about 10 minutes. So they showed what they could do. I don't know if they would have got more time on the main card. So
I mean, the pre-show was all about New York people winning.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. So I thought it was a really good match. But then again, it is hard to have a great match when the crowd is obviously not all sitting down. They're not all in the arena. Like, they showed a shot of Tony Nese after he won the title, hugging his family in the front row, and there was no one sitting in the front row, like on hard cam side. So there's that, and obviously going just the 10 minutes. They had another match on 205 Live this week that went longer, and it was probably a much better match. But I'm happy for Tony Nese. A little sad that Buddy Murphy lost the title, but a good match.
Tony Nese does deserve it, though.
Oh, for sure, 100%. He's been there since day one, I think, of 205 Live, so
yep.
To win it is a pretty cool accomplishment. After that, I made it just in time to your house for this one, the Women's Battle Royal.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, exactly. I needed to see this. My pick, Lacey Evans, still hasn't entered the match, so I'm holding out hope that she wins that.
just give it up. She lost.
She was just a bit late. She showed up later on. That's why she walked back to the back up the ramp. She's like, "Oh, the ramp."
Yeah.
So it looked like Sarah Logan had won, but Carmella was outside the ring. She came in and ended up
looked at her.
She just, instead of eliminating her, she just stared at her for a bit and waited for her to turn around. But Carmella has won the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal, the second ever winner. What do you think of this one?
Oh, she beat Andre the Giant in the Royal Rumble. You know. My pick, Asuka. Oh, how it's eliminated. They do a quick camera cut to her. Nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. It happened. That trophy's ugly.
There's not much you can really say about these battle royals on a Mania pre-show. Like, you're not going to get a great match or even a great battle.
I mean, the other one was comedic. It had emotion to it. This one it happened. Yeah. And probably the only thing we get out of it is Sarah Logan looked really good, and Dana Brooke is a contender now.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Like, those two came out looking pretty good, so hopefully that means something going forward. Dana Brooke had a backstage promo, which I don't think we're going to get to later. So
she's coming for the title.
She's lining up, but not at the back of the line. She said so
because she's somewhere in the line, but not the back anymore.
Not the back, so that's good. So she's going for one of the titles, one of the man's titles. So, but yeah, congrats to Carmella, and that's cool. Another accomplishment for her.
True.
The next we had the Raw Tag Team titles defended. The Revival, unable to continue the streak as Kurt Hawkins finally gets a win. He and Zack Ryder are the new Raw Tag Team champions. What did you think of this one?
I mean, let's be real. We knew what the result was going to be. Didn't shock me. the hot tags were wasted. The way they did it was weird. I mean, I don't know. I feel like this was very thrown together. Like there was not much thought behind it.
It's almost like they had less than a week to prepare for this.
Yeah, it seems like it. And Kurt was in the match for most of the time. It should have been a case of Ryder getting worked over the whole match, tags in Kurt Hawkins for a roll up or something like that.
Yeah.
Didn't get that at all.
I enjoyed the finish. I thought it was good that
Yeah, the finish was fine.
like Hawkins getting the blind tag, and then they hit the Shatter Machine on Ryder, right? And then they rolled.
Yeah, and they both and on Raw as well. They almost just broke up the pin, which was I like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think the Revival still have something to give. We'll talk about the Superstar Shakeup later and how it affects both brands and things like that. But it's all about this moment. I don't think Hawkins and Ryder are going to be champions for a long time, but it was an awesome moment for both of these guys in their home state to win the tag titles. It's really cool. So not much you can really say about that other than that. So next we had the main event of the pre-show. It was the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Braun Strowman winning his first time, and he last eliminated wrestling great Colin Jost. What were your thoughts on this?
Not to be confused with Michael Che, who cowardly got eliminated.
I know.
You know what? I came into this knowing it was going to be weird. I came out of it laughing my head off. I loved it. I don't know. Something about it. My pick won. Do you want to tell us about your pick, mate?
Well, we're speaking about it longer than he was in the match, unfortunately. But I picked EC3, and geez, I think I looked away for a second, and when I looked back, you said he got eliminated. So it wasn't a great start to my predictions.
Oh, that was funny, and I just liked it.
Yeah. I have to agree. I mean, everything leading up to that was sort of standard battle royal, sort of like what we got with the women. But this thing with the SNL guys and Strowman sort of added a little something to it and was entertaining. Yeah, I don't know. It made it okay that they put these guys in the match, which was good.
I mean, Ali shouldn't have been in it.
Yeah,
It didn't even get an entrance, and then we had to wait on the Hardys entrance that we hated for about 4 minutes.
I saw someone say that might have been because like the second hour was on USA, so maybe it was an ad break.
Maybe.
But still, we were watching that pre-show panel while the Hardys music was playing in the background for a good 3 to 5 minutes.
We had to watch EC3 and No Way Jose do the Jeff Hardy firework thing.
They were rocking out. But for what it was, I think the Battle Royal was everything we expected and then probably exceeded it slightly, if anything. So,
yeah.
Kudos to them for that. But now it's time to get into the main card. How long did this go for? About 5.5 hours, the main show?
Something like that, yeah.
So we had plenty to watch. It opened with Alexa Bliss saying that she could make a WrestleMania moment at the snap of her fingers, and when she snapped her fingers, she brought out everyone's favorite old wrestler, Hulk Hogan.
Ooh.
So obviously not a fan of that, were you, Nat?
No, not needed on this show.
No, definitely not. Definitely, like, they didn't need to fill time. There's plenty of stuff to happen, so...
Yeah.
But then Paul Heyman just waddled his way past Hogan and Bliss and cut a promo saying that if Brock's not going to be the main event, he's going to go on last so that he can leave. And so we started with the Universal Championship, which sort of took us all by surprise. But Brock attacked Seth and sort of laid him out before the bell had rang. And then once the bell did ring, Seth, I think he counted an F5, which got like the referee sort of knocked down for a second. He hit a low blow and then 3 curb stomps for the win. We have a new Universal Champion, Seth Rollins. What did you think of this one?
Do you buy this match?
Do I buy it? What do you mean?
Yeah, did you buy into the finish? Like, I don't know. Like 3 curb stomps, yeah, cool. I don't know. Just, it didn't do it for me. I think it was more about the moment than the match.
I guess. I mean, Seth could have a great match with Brock. I think we know that because we've seen Brock have matches with the smaller guys that have been really good, and Seth's obviously really good in the ring, but it kept us short, and we got the result we wanted, so I don't think people really cared that it wasn't a good match. People were just happy that Seth's the champ, and hopefully Brock goes away for a little bit. So I'm happy. I was happy. It was a good opener. It's a good feel good opener, and it got the crowd energized, I think, for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
After that, we saw AJ Styles defeating Randy Orton. What did you think of this one? Probably a mixed bag for this one.
Yeah, it felt like a SmackDown match, and I think it was built up in the promos to be more than that. I mean, I don't know. It felt like more just a filler match, and unfortunately, Randy didn't win.
Randy sort of works that really slow, methodical pace, and sometimes it works really well. But I think for this,
didn't work.
It didn't work. The crowd was energized, and they probably wanted something a little different. It sort of built up a little bit towards the finish, but still not what we needed. I don't think at this point.
Yeah.
After that, we saw a fatal 4-way match for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. The Usos retaining against Aleister Black, Ricochet, Rusev Nakamura, and The Bar. What did you think of this match?
Yeah, surprisingly, really good match. I mean, didn't think they'd give it as much time as they did, and I think they all showed out. It was really good. I was just disappointed Ricochet and Aleister Black didn't win, but the Usos are the best tag team in the world, so they got the win.
I completely agree with you. I think it is cool. If that Seth match, had got time cut, and then we had a couple matches later on that went pretty short. If that was to give this match time, I'm happy, because this one was a lot of fun, and it showed that tag team wrestling can be obviously a really important part of the show, and the Usos did a great job. Ricochet, but I thought Ricochet looked like a star in this match. He tore it apart. And it's cool that the Usos finally get that moment of them winning the titles on the main card. So, I don't have a bad word to say about this match. It was everything that I wanted from it and more, I think. So they did well. Then we got the best in the world, Shane McMahon, defeating The Miz in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Where do we start with this, Nat? I'm sure you've got some thoughts.
I think we need to start off with The Miz, George. Yeah. He squared up.
Yeah, he was ready to throw hands with Shane.
Yeah, it's you know what? I like this match, and I think people were very disappointed Miz didn't win. I think it's more to set up something later down the road between these two again. It wasn't just your typical brawl. I think it was just there was a bit more emotion in it than that, and I think this match showed that the Miz can work as a proper babyface. And then we got the good spot at the end.
Yeah, no, I think you've hit the nail on the head. It was pretty good for what it was. Shane's obviously not going to put on a 5-star classic. He's not Okada or Jay White in the ring, so it wasn't going to be anything like that. But
what?
I mean, he is the best in the world, but he has a different style.
Exactly.
But yeah, it was enjoyable. They brawled through the crowd. George obviously made a WrestleMania moment, as you said. So, and then the superplex off the top of the scaffolding through obviously it was like a crash pad or whatever it was, but it was still a cool moment. And then the fact that the Miz hit that move, but Shane landed after the superplex on top of Miz for the pin was just, I thought it was brilliant. It was a way to have the Miz. He was the winner. Like everyone knows, okay, Miz was the one beating him up and he hit the big move, but somehow Shane just landed on top of him and got lucky. So I think it was cool. It was a cool little moment. But something that was, I think, probably a better moment, you'll agree with me, Nat, is the match that took place after this. We had a second fatal 4-way for the women's tag team titles. We saw new champions crowned. It was the Iconics defeating the Boston Hug Connection, Natalia, Beth Phoenix, and then Nia and Tamina. What were your thoughts on our Aussie girls getting the win?
Well, what emotion! What an emotional moment it was. Just the tag titles, they've become iconic. Exactly. Now they've got these shiny new side plates. I mean, who can stop the Iconics? Certainly not the Brooklyn Bells.
No, the undefeated Brooklyn Bells with a record of 45-0 were unable to stop the Iconics on SmackDown this week. So,
I didn't like this match.
Didn't like the match.
Didn't love it. Didn't like when at the time I thought, good match. Just thinking about it, wasn't amazing. I think Nia and Tamina didn't look bad. I think the way they treated Beth Phoenix in the match was just kind of weird. Kind of just gave her ring her ring re-debut in a tag match was weird. I don't know. I think I maybe need to watch this again.
But I think for the moment that it created with the Iconics winning, and you saw the emotion that they displayed was it was pretty special to see that, and I couldn't be happier for them. And I was the only one that picked them, surprisingly. I sort of picked them just because they were Australian and I wanted them to win, and I wanted to be a bit different to you guys, but somehow they've pulled it out, and yeah, that was really special. So for me,
Highest of the century.
I didn't care of the match. I was just happy that they got the win. Well, this next match was something we can all agree on. This probably the highlight of the pay-per-view for me is Kofi Kingston defeating Daniel Bryan to win the WWE Championship in an awesome match. What did you think of this moment, Nat?
I just think you just said it. Awesome match. Geez, how it was just emotional. It just I don't think I've seen a crowd hate someone more than Daniel Bryan. Just how the tables have turned from WrestleMania 30. Geez, it was just good. I haven't got any words. I'm speechless.
Yeah, it was pretty special to see that. For whatever reason, there was something just in the back of my head just saying, you know, maybe this isn't going to happen. Maybe they put all that heat on Daniel Bryan if he gets the win, but they made the right choice. Kofi won, and then celebrating with his tag partners in the New Day and having his two sons in the ring was just it was something pretty special, and it's going to be a WrestleMania moment for years to come that people remember, I think.
Good moment.
We got a very quick match after that. We saw Samoa Joe beat Rey Mysterio in about a minute to retain his United States Championship. What did you think of this? Was it just the injury that Rey suffered that sort of played into this?
Yeah, definitely the injury, and yeah, if he's not 100%, no point putting the match on, so you might as well just allocate their time somewhere else.
Yeah, I think they made the right choice. If Rey couldn't go, I mean, they could have went down the route of having Mustafa Ali replace him, but they have put this build behind it with Rey and
Dominic. Yeah,
I think Joe comes out of it looking like a beast, which is probably something that we want.
Yeah, made him look good on SmackDown too.
Oh yeah, you're right. They have a way of doing that where they just undo all their good work sometimes, WWE. So, yeah, it was what it was, and Samoa Joe retains. He's currently the United States champion. The next match we got Roman Reigns defeating Drew McIntyre in his return to singles competition. What did you think of this one?
Underwhelming. Yeah, but I didn't hate it.
I mean, it was what it was. Like, you can't, because the show was so long, you're going to get matches that the crowd just aren't.
Yeah, that mean less than the others. Yeah,
they've just come off Kofi winning the title. They just had a very short match, so it's kind of hard to tell if the crowd was into that or not because it only went a minute. But the crowd, it was just like a little down period, and the show's starting to get a little long. So, and I thought, what do you think of the reaction that Roman got?
I want to say it was disappointing. I mean, I can't tell people to cheer him, but I really, really thought people would actually be behind him and not be so wanting Drew to win. They couldn't put that aside for one night, but oh well.
I mean, yeah, I agree. It's not my place to say that we have to cheer him or anything like that. I'm a fan of Roman Reigns, but you can't just be like, he had cancer, so cheer him. So
yeah, it's true.
If people want to continue to boo him, that's up to them. But he's a babyface in my book, and
I mean, if they wanted to make him really sympathetic, they could have had him.
Sorry.
And he keeps. If they really wanted to be a very sympathetic character, they could have had him lose.
Yeah, that's true. But it was supposed to, it was this big moment of him coming back, and
yeah,
anyone that thought Drew was going to win this is probably kidding themselves a little bit. Like, it's Roman's big match back, so it obviously would have made Drew look like a beast if he did win. But it is what it is. And the match was, maybe because of the crowd, it was just it just felt like a bit of a Raw match that they'd have, I suppose. The next moment we had, it wasn't a match, but Elias came out and performed for the WWE Universe. He somehow played what was it? Piano, drum, and guitar all at once. And then he was interrupted by a video package about Babe Ruth calling a shot, which then led into the Doctor of Thugonomics, John Cena, making a return. And this was a pretty fun moment. Nat, what do you think of this?
Well, this was just a nice little segment to break up the show, and what a segment it was! So unexpected, such a different look from the Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame was looking, John was looking like JBL once again, and then he comes out, "Hello, fellow kids, how do you do?" Geez, this is, it was nostalgic, and I think it was very welcome on the show. It was just another great moment for this show, but also just another Elias WrestleMania moment ruined.
Yeah, it's people speculated John Cena would be the one to interrupt him, and I don't think.
But not in this way.
Yeah, no one would have guessed this. So, 15 years later, from when he was in New York at WrestleMania 20, doing this gimmick, he's back and doing it again. It was pretty cool, especially for us, like people that grew up with this type of Cena, this gimmick. It was awesome to see him sort of throw it back for one night, and yeah, a lot of fun, a really cool WrestleMania moment.
Yeah.
The next match, speaking of nostalgia, Triple H and his big Mad Max bike or whatever it was, defeated Batista, even though it wasn't fair. Batista was stumbling all over the place just getting in the ring, so it didn't seem like a fair contest, but
Jesus.
Triple H wins the no-holds-barred match and continues his career. What were your thoughts on this?
I'm not sure where to start, but I'll just start off with the obvious, the nose ring spot. Oof. We kind of picked this before it happened. We were like, oh, surely, they should do this, but they're not going to.
Yeah.
And geez, they did it. That was brutal. I think Batista really showed that he hadn't wrestled in a while. He was very, very gassed. He was struggling a lot of the spots. There was that one spot where we thought he was going to be Batista with Triple H on the table. And I think you said it. He's not going to be able to get him up.
Yeah, exactly.
But this was a very entertaining, nostalgic match, and when you think about it, clearly Batista's not going to wrestle again. He's you forget he is kind of old.
Yeah,
like he did start his career pretty late. So I think Triple H winning's a good one. I mean, didn't really see him just retiring here out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So, it was good. It probably went a little bit too long, but that's okay.
Batista is 50 years old.
There you go.
He is 1 year.
I'm pretty
1 year younger than PCO.
I thought so, because I thought he was about 38 when about 37, 38 when he won the title.
Yeah. So
first time.
I thought this match was a little too long, but for what it was, I mean, Triple H is always going to get his time on WrestleMania.
Get his shit in.
But I agree with you. I mean, it wasn't going to be a classic wrestling match, but they did a great job, and it was pretty brutal. I didn't know they were such deathmatch guys. These guys, they were just, just going for it with the weapons and whatnot. So a cool little finish there with Flair helping Triple H out with the sledgehammer. And I think Batista obviously wanted this one just to go out. He wanted this match as his last match with Triple H. It obviously meant a lot, especially storyline wise.
I really would have liked more of a farewell in the ring.
You wanted to say it like the crowd to cheering and stuff like that.
Yeah, even have like Ric Flair forgive Batista, and I don't know.
Have them all hug in the ring.
Yeah, even have Randy come out or something.
Actually, now that you've mentioned it,
it's a little bit lackluster that they didn't do that,
because we didn't know he was retiring. We kind of thought this would be his last match, but Batista announced his retirement later after WrestleMania on Twitter. So
yeah,
you're right. If Randy had came down and just have a little thing there where they hug or whatever, would have been cool. But maybe Batista didn't want to break kayfabe or anything. Just wanted to end it there and
true.
Have his last moment be him getting beaten by Triple H.
Yeah, so Batista to AEW.
He's going to work Kenny Omega on the live events.
Exactly.
Just quickly, something I thought of the other night. I meant to mention it too, but do you think Batista goes into the Hall of Fame next year?
Big possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, who else?
because
Who else could go in
they
immediately?
always want that headlining name, and I think Batista will be one next year.
Yeah, probably makes sense. Have Batista.
Does he live in
Can't
Tampa?
really-
I know a lot of wrestlers do live in Tampa. If he does, I mean, that kind of...
Maybe. I mean, I know he's from obviously Washington DC, but no idea, mate.
I'll have to DM him, see what's going
And us.
on.
I mean, they didn't even have Taz in this year's Hall of Fame, and it's in Braun.
Yeah, that makes sense. So after that, it was Kurt Angle's retirement match. So we got 2 farewells in a row. Baron Corbin comes out with the win against Kurt Angle in his farewell match. What did you think of Corbin picking this win up?
I don't really care for it. I guess that adds a bit more to Corbin, and you can say he's beaten an Olympic gold medalist. So I guess it. I mean, I didn't really care because we weren't going to get a great match out of it.
Yeah, we sort of knew going in that the match wasn't going to be great, but the problem I have sometimes with if someone loses on the way out, I think you need to make sure that it's to a guy that it's going to work. Like he's going to become a star going forward.
Yeah,
it's going to help catapult him. I don't know if Corbin's that guy. I think if Drew had demolished him, but I mean we sort of saw that on Raw a couple.
Yeah,
months
we
ago,
would have seen it. Yeah,
but it is what it is. They've obviously got faith in Baron Corbin going forward, so for him to win it gives him that rub that he beat Kurt Angle in his final match or whatever. So it is what it is. But the match wasn't.
He had a nice vest.
Yeah, he went all out for WrestleMania. Got a new vest. The next match we saw the Demon Finn Balor defeating Bobby Lashley to win the Intercontinental Championship in another short match. What were your thoughts on Finn regaining the title?
Yeah, I mean, it was the Demon Finn Balor versus Beast Bobby Lashley with the new contact lenses. It was all right. They clearly strapped for. They kind of rushed everything, made a high impact, but I didn't hate the match. I thought I was going to dread it. I mean, Finn came out with the title, was what it was. Leo Rush was on WrestleMania.
Yeah, cool moment for Leo Rush. He was there. I kind of agree. It's Finn winning the title back, which is a cool moment for me. He's the champ. And I think going forward, that's the right choice. I think Finn can sort of try and do what Seth did with the Intercontinental title last year and just have some great matches. Hopefully after the Superstar Shake-Up, he's got some fresh opponents on Raw and he can just be that workhorse champion going forward.
Yeah.
So we get to the main event. It is the triple threat match, obviously, for the Raw and Smackdown Women's Championships. Becky Lynch defeated Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair to become the champ. Becky 2 belts. So what were your thoughts on the match? And do you want to start with the entrances? What do you think of Charlotte's entrance and then Joan Jett playing for Ronda?
Yeah, well, did you know this is an exact copy of what Ric Flair had an entrance of once?
Oh, wow, yes. I am remembering him getting out of a helicopter.
Yes, he does it on like the baseball field or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the callback. Very, very subtle thing, but pretty cool. Made her look really kind of heelish, cocky, and then you had Ronda Rousey being played out by Joan Jett, and then the man just strutting it all.
Just had her
Kill Bill.
Had her steam going up out of the ground or whatever it was.
Yeah, her manhood.
But what do you think of the match?
Yeah, it was a good match. Just watching it, felt like it should have just been Becky and Charlotte. Just the wrestling wasn't amazing when it was involving Ronda, but I mean, with what Ronda did do, she did add the element of what she can do, and that's her MMA stuff. The kicks she did the start of the match to Becky and Charlotte pretty strong. I think a little bit of exhaustion came in at the end with the table. That's why it didn't break fully. They didn't get Charlotte up enough. I mean, and then the finish happened. I didn't really care that her shoulders were up. I don't give a shit. Let's just say the referee doesn't like Ronda.
Yeah, I mean, that's what people sort of soured on is the finish. But for me, again, it's the same as Seth. Like, I don't really care. Just because we got.
I'll be honest. I won't remember it. I won't remember that.
No. This WrestleMania will be remembered for the 3 babyfaces winning those world titles. No one's going to be like, yeah, but Seth won in 2 minutes and Becky didn't actually pin Ronda. Like, no one's going to say that.
Yeah.
so I'm just happy that Becky won and we got the right result. It would have been a shame to close WrestleMania off with Ronda or Charlotte winning. Yeah, you pretty much said everything. The match was what it was, and it was fine. But yeah, cool moment for Becky to win the titles.
Yeah, it was.
Overall, what do you think of WrestleMania?
Yeah, it was a really good show. One of the better WrestleManias. I loved it. I wasn't bored throughout it. I got 9 out of 16 predictions right. It's not a great day, so but very unpredictable Mania because we just assumed we weren't going to get the 3 main title matches. We weren't going to get them all as a baby faces, and we did. For the weekend, I went 17-31.
That's pretty good. Over 500. Yeah, I agree with you. We sort of spoke about it afterwards. It didn't feel, for us anyway, I don't know how everyone else felt, but it didn't feel like we were watching it for 5.5 hours. Some of it really just flew by. It sort of towards the end maybe felt like we were watching it for we'd been there a little while, but
yeah, it definitely felt in the triple threat at the end.
That first half of it was just fun. Like a lot of cool stuff happened, and
yeah,
we got that moment. Maybe I was riding off a high after Kofi won. I don't know, for a little bit, but I think probably. I mean, I can't really think of one from the modern era that could be better than this.
Yeah, off the top of my head, not really. Like, this stands out.
30 was great for the moment of Bryan winning those 2 matches, but
other than that,
like obviously Brock breaking the streak, but that wasn't a great match. Like, I think this had great wrestling and great moments. It was just all around. Like, I mean, you list the things that happened with all the new champions with Becky, Seth, Kofi, Finn. You have Kurt Angle retiring. You have Batista's final match against Triple H. Like, a lot of stuff happened here. So
yeah,
very memorable WrestleMania, I think. Match of the night, I'm guessing was Kofi.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. So after WrestleMania, obviously we have the Raw and Smackdown. After WrestleMania, some things happened that we'll get to. We'll just go through the main sort of storylines out of the 2 shows. Seth started Raw by, celebrating his Universal title win.
Yeah.
He was interrupted by Kofi, who, was a bit of a surprise. He's on Raw. And he challenged Seth to a winner-take-all match for both Universal and WWE Championships for later on in the show. This led to their match getting interrupted about halfway through with the Bar interjecting themselves in, and this led to a tag team match. Kofi and Rollins versus the Bar. They get a win, and they stand tall as the 2 new champions in WWE. What were your thoughts on this whole thing on Raw?
Look, I didn't hate it with the Superstar shakeup coming up, but I can understand the crowd clearly just did not like. They wanted someone. Clearly wanted the Undisputed Era or something. But I didn't hate it. Ends the show with these 2.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, when I saw that people were upset, for me, I wasn't, because in my head, like you messaged myself and Brandon saying they're going to have the titles up, and then Brandon said, "Are they going away with the brand split?" And it sort of got me scared that Kofi or Rollins was going to win one of them was going to lose the title.
Going to lose, yeah.
And I didn't want either of them to lose their title. So for when the Bar came out, it was sort of a sigh of relief for me. I was like, okay, double DQ, they both get their titles, it's all good. But I can see how the crowd was sort of thinking, someone's going to interfere. Hopefully it's someone surprising and a bit of a shock. I guess it was. I mean, it's the Bar. They're from SmackDown, so that's a bit of a shock.
I mean, it is a bit of a shock, yeah.
But obviously not what they wanted. It is what it is. I mean, I think this week on Raw and SmackDown, they sort of are just preparing because they don't want to set anything up long term, because there's going to be superstars moving from show to show. So
because then you have that thing all the time, and it would seem like it was the Backlash pay-per-view, or whatever, and you just got these random cross-brand matches.
Exactly. So I thought overall, like, they did the right thing for these 2 shows. Is they didn't want to set anything up long term, and just had some matches and had us cheer the new champs. One match they did have was a WrestleMania rematch for the Raw tag titles, Hawkins and Ryder. Again, like you mentioned earlier, they defeated the Revival, retaining their titles. Ryder didn't lose his title the night after Mania, which was nice. What do you think of of that overall and having the Hawkins and Ryder retain their titles.
Yeah, it happened. I don't really have an opinion on it.
Yeah. I can't really remember if the crowd was into Hawkins and Ryder when they came out. Like, I thought like this marquee crowd would have enjoyed the fact that these guys, they've been busting their ass for so many years.
Nah, revival.
Yeah. Okay, this is what we all want to talk about. I've grabbed this headline from WWE.com. It was a quote, mysterious creature emerges on Raw. It was, by all accounts, a buzzard popping out of a cardboard box and sort of laughing and then coughing in a cloud of smoke, wearing a Hawaiian shirt as well. What's your take on this, Nat?
It's weird, but it's something different at the same time. It's clearly Bray Wyatt, but it doesn't look like... I feel like he's going back to the Hawaiian shirt days, not his fucking apron days.
Yeah.
I feel like they're not really repackaging him. They're just digressing with his character. I mean, I don't care. I'm happy to see him when he's back. I just don't understand it, I guess.
Yeah, everything points to it being Bray. I saw people speculating that it might be Mighty Skrull, but that's not that. Whatever
that would be the worst debut.
Whatever that thing was in the box, it wasn't what Marty wears. Like, what's the face mask he wears?
Oh, jeez.
I don't really know what it is, but it's not a buzzard for sure.
It's not.
I mean, so I don't know. It's not. It's definitely not Marty Skrull. I don't think it's got to be Bray Wyatt. It's an interesting way to bring him back for sure. I'm interested to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
As long as it's not like some gobbledygooker sort of shit. He doesn't. I don't want Bray Wyatt to pop out of an egg. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So Becky Lynch came out on both Raw and SmackDown, sort of just celebrating a win and saying that she's ready to take on all comers from Raw and SmackDown now that she has both belts, which led Lacey Evans out on Raw. She hit her with the women's right, and then they brawled around the stage area and stuff like that. And the next night on SmackDown, she did the same sort of thing. She attacked Becky from behind and left her laying. What are your thoughts on the Becky Lynch Lacey Evans feud?
I like it. I like how she's attacked her on both shows. So whatever show they decide to put Becky primarily on. I mean, Lacey Evans, I imagine, would follow her to, or either one, I guess, but she can go for either title. So, yeah. I mean, I like it. It's a new challenger, and we saw the reports that they thought they were going to go with Lacey Evans after WrestleMania, and it seems to be right.
I mean, it's kind of cool, I think. So, like, whatever brand Lacey ends up on, she can challenge for that brand's title, maybe, and if she wins it, then Becky can sort of go to the other brand or whatever. And
it's the man versus the woman.
It's
the lady
versus the man. It's
writes itself.
It does, obviously. Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's cool that it's a new challenger. We've sort of seen Becky and Charlotte sort of for most of. I mean, it feels like since SummerSlam, it's been those two.
Yeah.
And then she's sort of been feuding with Ronda as well since Survivor Series, so it's nice to see Becky in a fresh feud. It's someone else. We don't really know what Ronda's situation is, whether or not she's re-signing or she might be going away for a little bit. So,
I mean, I have some news on that if you want to get into it after.
Yeah, I haven't written your news segment down, but I was going to do that next anyway. So
alright, we'll get into that.
Get stuck into that. So we'll get into this. Lars Sullivan finally made his main roster debut. Kurt Angle sort of came out, and I believe it was with Baron Corbin, right? He left him laying.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Yeah, and then
he gave him the angle slam and ankle lock.
Yeah, and then as Angle was celebrating, Lars Sullivan came out and attacked Kurt, left him laying. Lars, did he show up on He did show up on SmackDown.
Yeah, he attacked the Hardys.
We'll get to that shortly. What are your thoughts on Lars's debut and left Angle laying?
Yeah, I don't really care for 5-star Lars. No, I don't really care, and he did some shitty half choke slam.
Yeah.
Not a big fan, but he did a diving headbutt, which was weird, but they're doing that.
Yeah. I thought this was a good way to bring him up. I'm with you. I haven't been a fan of Lars in NXT, so I don't like his chances of winning me over on the main roster, but it's impactful, and it made sense to debut him on the Raw after Mania, and to lay out Kurt, it obviously is a big deal because he's laying out a Hall of Famer, but
That's true.
it is what it is. Okay, so we had another return. This kind of bummed me out. Like, as they were going to a commercial break, they show Sami Zayn in the backstage area, and they're like, "Oh, coming up next, Sami Zayn." Like, why not just hit his music and have the crowd pop like crazy? It just made no sense to me. But Sami Zayn returned, and he asked for a challenge. It turned out to be Finn Balor, who put his newly won Intercontinental title on the line, and he retained. So Sami Zayn losing in his return match, but then he cut a heel promo, sort of running down the crowd, and I quite
We're never happy.
I quite enjoyed the promo. What do you think, Nat?
Yeah, I like it. I like the heel Sammy. I'm a big fan of it, and I liked his SmackDown promo even better.
Yeah, he what did he say? He came out on SmackDown and
You're not worth it.
You're not worth it, and then he just went back.
You're not worth it. Go to hell.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah, I've loved Sami Zayn since NXT, so the guy's great. And now this heel work that he's doing is brilliant. Really good promo on Raw, and like you said, a good one on SmackDown. So big things for Sami coming up. We had Elias get interrupted again, surprisingly, but this time, as he was cutting a rap, he said, "If anyone interrupts me, you're a dead man," which popped.
The dead man appeared.
He popped the crowd because everyone's like, "Oh, Undertaker," and then the Undertaker did appear. He hit Elias with a big boot, a choke slam, and a tombstone.
And his hairline was pretty far back.
Yeah, it's getting worse every time you see him, unfortunately.
But he did look better. He has lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, he like in shape. He looks in shape, but he's like his hair, and I don't know. It's just not.
What do you think of his Instagram account?
Oh man, the Undertaker should not be using Instagram.
Selling all the products.
So weird.
You know what Elias said? He said that 3 fingers, John, and the middle one's for you.
I mean, it was a cool moment to see Taker. We didn't, when you think of returns, Raw after Mania, you're not really thinking Undertaker, but
definitely not. I mean, this is clearly setting up the Saudi show.
Yeah, I think so. After this, well, they had the main event, like we sort of mentioned, with Kofi, Seth, and the Bar. But after Raw went off the air, Dean Ambrose had his farewell to WWE. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins were in the ring, and Seth sort of cut a promo saying, how much is, to bring Dean out, and they sort of celebrated and did the Shield fist bump thing, and so it seems as though Dean's leaving. What were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it was very emotional. It was clearly not scripted, and there was a lot of emotion there. Yeah. Roman kind of stood back and didn't really do anything. Yeah, it was weird, but it was very, very emotional when they did the Shield pose, and he had some really nice words to say. Like, you don't get to hear Dean Ambrose talk like that since he's always in character. Yeah, it was good to hear his thoughts.
100% agree. It was you could definitely tell that Dean wasn't scripted there, and he was just going off the cuff and just saying what he felt. So, really cool moment. I don't really have much from SmackDown. We sort of spoke about Lacey Evans, but we have new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. The Hardy Boys defeated the Usos. Lars Sullivan attacked the Hardys after the match, which we sort of alluded to. But what are your thoughts on the Hardys winning the titles?
They win championships in April. That's what they do. That's it. It's cool. We got Usos versus Hardys. I imagine this will lead to the Usos going.
What was that? Sorry, you cut out.
Sorry, I imagine this is Usos will be going to Raw.
Yeah, I think that's something you could probably see happening. They're both babyface teams, so to have the Hardys sort of run SmackDown as the champs makes sense, and then send the Usos over to Raw, who definitely need tag teams.
Yeah.
Is there anything else from SmackDown I'm forgetting? The main event was the New Day against the Bar and their friend from Raw, Drew McIntyre. So
yeah, they made a new friend.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
All the international guys, they're bad. The foreigners are bad.
The League of Nations reforming. You never know. They might get Rusev and Nakamura in there. It's just just international flavor. You never know.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the recap of Raw and SmackDown after Mania. Let's get into your news roundup.
All right, let's get into that then. All right, the news roundup. All right, so obviously we talked about it. Was assaulted, famous fee, avoided serious injury. Cool. Impact has issued a brief statement today, and they've announced they have cut ties, terminated the contract with Eli Drake.
Ooh.
So yeah, really weird. Apparently, his contract was going to expire May 31st. It was probably obviously clear he wasn't going to re-sign with them.
Yep.
So they've decided to cut ties early. Dave Meltzer has verified Jim Ross's statement that AEW will have a live weekly 2-hour primetime show on a key cable station. And according to Dave Meltzer, this probably most likely could be beginning in October. The deal wasn't signed as of Saturday, however, and I will not believe anything until it's actually done.
I did see a tweet before that it's most likely going to be Turner Network or Turner Broadcasting or whatever it is.
That's funny.
TBS or TNT, I'm pretty sure. So that should be interesting.
The irony.
Yeah, I know, right?
So next up, early on, just talked about it, but Dave Bautista, Guardians of the Galaxy star, has announced his retirement via Twitter. He said, WWE Universe, thank you for letting me entertain you. I love this business, whether you cheered me or jeered me. I'm grateful for being a small part of your life. I am officially retired from sports entertainment, and I'm grateful for every second of the journey.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks, Big Dave.
I mean, for us, you and I, Dave was obviously a big part of our childhood watching wrestling.
I mean, yeah.
So
huge.
It's kind of sad to see him go. Obviously, you and I we saw evolution as kids, and then Dave was obviously world champion for a while. Was a big star, and now it makes us feel old a little bit. I think.
I mean, it's when you think about it, it's kind of like our version of like the Rock Austin and Triple H, Undertaker, Mick Foley.
Exactly.
He's one of the ones with probably seen a Triple H, Randy.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad.
It is, yeah.
But also, another piece of news. Apparently, Ronda Rousey actually suffered a broken right hand throwing a punch in last night's WrestleMania event.
Really?
Apparently, she connected on one a little bit too well, and she's broken a hand. So that's not great. But don't punch people for real. So we got some cool news. Wrestling Dantaku will be Kushcheka Okada's first title defense. It'll be against Sonata at Wrestling Dantaku May 4th on night 2.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah, so Sonata just getting a big push instead of Evil. And I think that's the right way.
I mean, did he come second in the New Japan Cup?
Yeah, he did. They fought in the New Japan Cup, and I can imagine this is why they, because since he came so close. Yeah. So WWE has announced the broadcast details for the Worlds Collide specials that were taped to Access. Yep. First one is NXT versus NXT alumni. There's Cruiserweights Collide, Women Collide, and Brands Collide. Those are the themes of the specials. The NXT and NXT versus NXT alumni will be the first to air, which will be premiering on the network April 14th, which will be the 15th for us, featuring Roddy Strong versus Tyler Breeze, Dominik Dijakovic versus Luke Harper, look out for that one, Sanity, Wolf and Dane versus the Undisputed Era, wonder who's going to win that one, and Ono versus Aiden English. Oh, wow. Hasn't been having many matches these days, but there you go. The Cruiserweights Collide will premiere on April 17th and will feature Tyler Bate versus Brian Kendrick, Akira Tozawa versus Jordan Devlin, Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews versus Davari and Mike Kanellis. There's another. Oh, that's a big tag, boy. I'm not even going to go back on that. There's actually another 2 teams in that, sorry. Women Collide premieres on April 24th. We'll have Io Shirai versus Sonya Deville. That sounds like a good one. Toni Storm versus Nikki Cross. Yep. And versus... Sorry, that's a triple threat. Toni Storm versus Nikki Cross versus Bianca Belair. Nice. This one, Piper Niven versus Zelina Vega and Candice LeRae. and Kaylee Ray.
Kaylee Ray.
There's a shitload of names here. And the last one, Brands Collide, is May 1st, features men's and women's battle royals from wrestlers from NXT and NXT UK. The men's battle royal will also feature 205 live wrestlers. So look forward to those little specials coming up. I think it works out to be like every Wednesday, the last three. Raw last night for the day after WrestleMania episode averaged 2.92 million viewers, which is by far the lowest for the show in history for the day after WrestleMania. Jeez. It was the biggest number Raw has actually achieved since August 20th, and it seems to indicate that it'll be very difficult to hit 3 million viewers this year.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So that's no good. Fightful is also reporting that referee Rod Zapata was fined for the botched finish of the WrestleMania main event. Yeah, don't really think he fucked it up, but whatever. That's it. Who's your source, bro? AEW has announced their CEO, which is a gaming thing, will be called Fighter Fest, with a video parodying the ill-fated Fire Festival. And the website also has a number of, in quotations, VIP packages, which are fake, that have already been sold out. The event will take place on June 29th. Tickets should go on sale in early May. And it would basically just be like a wrestling crossover with gaming. Maybe the New Day could show up, at an AEW event.
That's it.
Before SmackDown's post-WrestleMania episode got underway, however, Luke Harper had a match with EC3, and EC3 was managed by Drake Maverick.
This excites me.
Maybe if he had a Drake Maverick, eliminated so quickly.
I mean, these two are obviously very close. We've seen them work together in Impact. And EC3 needs something. I think he's a great talker, so he probably doesn't need a manager by any means. But I mean, hopefully this gets EC3 on the main shows on Raw and SmackDown, and they can actually do something with him because he's actually very talented.
Women's Tag Team Champion, Women's Evolution, yeah,
they're very
shiny.
I mean,
they are.
Drake Maverick's a very funny guy, so hopefully together they can do something.
He's hilarious, and he cut a bit of a promo at the Hall of Fame after the fan was in the ring.
Yeah, exactly. He just seems like a great guy.
And also, just finish off on this day in history. In 2001, Jeff Hardy defeated Triple H for the WWF Intercontinental title. Thought that was interesting because a bit of a forgotten match there. And we'll head into the YouTube roundup, get through this quickly. Episode 14 of SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain on Up, Up, Down, Down. And episode 50 of Battle of the Brands is up. New Being Elite, episode 146. What did you think of this one?
I can't.
It was a little bit better.
I think it was, but I can't really remember.
What did it have? It had Hangman putting the DVD in his car and then it loads on his phone.
Yeah, that was weird. But he was eating chips. That's kind of funny.
He ate a corner of a chip. It's not great, but hopefully they can turn this around. We've got Sheamus's Celtic Warrior workouts. We're up to episode 74, and this one's a big one. It's with Cesaro, Becky Lynch, and Seth Rollins. And obviously there's no Samoa Joe vlog. There's no new Chelsea Green video. No Lana and Rusev videos, which is so sad. But we got blessed with Tamandi's Donuts episode 30, which was released on Friday, pretty late. And just 30 minutes ago, episode 31 was released. So get onto those.
It's all happening.
So that's the news.
That is the news. We're obviously going very long here with the post-WrestleMania chat. We probably knew that. I just want to fit it in quickly here. Is the Superstar Shake-Up is next Monday and Tuesday on Raw and SmackDown. So I just wanted to quickly, we'll run through and just ask some questions. Like, who for you do you most want to see change from Raw to SmackDown or SmackDown to Raw?
I want to see either Roman, Drew, or on Move shows.
Who was the last one, sorry?
Roman, Drew, and Braun.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. They sort of teased it, like we said. Did we mention that? Braun attacked Joe?
No, we didn't.
Oh, well, Samoa Joe.
I didn't hate it.
Yeah, Samoa Joe's in the ring, and then he brawled with Braun, and Braun was going for the what was he going for? The running power slam, and then Joe
Yeah, he's too fat.
Yeah, Joe got out of the ring. So, I mean,
Set something up, but I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'd like to see Roman on SmackDown. I'd like to see Drew continue on Raw and sort of be the top heel over there.
I just don't think those three can stay on the one show.
Yeah, too many big dudes.
The big heavyweights, they're not really getting a chance at Seth.
Yeah. Who else? I mean, do you think from the women, is there anyone that you think should probably change brand?
I feel like they really need to shuffle. They really need to switch all the matches around. Because obviously SmackDown's women's division is very stale at the moment. Yeah. And I forgot to put it in, but Paige is bringing in a new team, and my guess is the Sky Pirates, since they didn't lose at Takeover. But I really think like we need to see Carmella maybe move Asuka, Naomi, or you just got to interject the. They've really just got to swap the brands completely to give us fresh matches. Yeah. And I think if I'm going to choose one woman, I'm going to choose Dana Brooke to SmackDown.
Yeah, I like that. You're right. The women's division's kind of stale because of it just feels like we've seen everything already. Because the way the brands are set up. So, you sort of made mention of the Usos earlier. I think they have to go to Raw. Because we don't really think Ryder and Hawkins are going to be the champs for much longer. But if the Usos or the Revival win the titles, I think those two together, those two teams would put. I mean, that could be like the main event on Raw. Like those two teams, I think, in my opinion.
Are Ricochet and Black getting drafted?
Yeah. Well, they obviously said goodbye to NXT, so I'm assuming they get put onto a brand. But what do you think? Do they stay together as a team, or do you think they break up?
See, I don't know. Maybe they break them up, send them to different shows.
Yeah, I mean they could have them on the same show and then they could just split up anyway. Like they're not. Obviously, they are.
Hopefully they send Alistair to. Lena's going to be on.
Yeah, that would make sense, wouldn't it? Who do you think most needs a fresh start?
Jeez, who needs most a fresh start? I think AJ Styles.
Yeah.
I think after losing the title, it's like, who is AJ Styles? What are you doing for me? I think him being on SmackDown, he's run SmackDown for a very long time now. Yeah. I think it's probably time for a proper change for him.
Yeah, I mean, if he goes to Raw, I mean, AJ vs. Drew is something that would be cool to watch, and AJ versus Seth obviously is a dream match for a lot of people, so that could be like a SummerSlam main event if they were to go down that road, I think. So, yeah, I agree with that. I'd love to see AJ on Raw with a bunch of new opponents because, yeah, like you said, he's pretty much had a match with just about everybody on SmackDown.
Pretty much, yeah.
So that's going to be interesting. Obviously, we didn't have a lot of time this week to talk about the Superstar Shake-Up, but that'll be happening next week, so I'm sure we'll dissect all the moves and what it means going forward next week. But it's the time for this week's Top 5. Alright, so my top 5 for this week is the top 5 Raw after WrestleMania moments. There's a couple that I considered that didn't make the list. Shawn Michaels' farewell after he lost the night before to Undertaker. I also had Goldberg's debut was around the mark, but they didn't make the top 5. Number 5 is This Is My Yard Now. I don't know if you love this as much as I did, but when Roman beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania 33, the next night he came out to open the show and the crowd booed him for at least 5 minutes. Do you sort of remember this? It felt like it went for about 10 minutes, the booing.
I'm not a good guy. I'm the guy.
I love the fact that after all the booing, I mean, they were still booing, but they sort of died down for a second, and he just said, "This is my yard now," and left it at that, and they just kept booing him. It was great. I thought it was one of the better promos.
Yeah, it is one of the better Roman out there. I agree with that.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that 5 words is all he said, but that was still one of his best promos. Number 4, I have Paige winning the Divas Championship in her debut. Pretty crazy to think.
They made a movie out of it.
Exactly. Zelina Vega got a movie role because of this. She yeah. So I was a very big Paige fan when during her first run before she sort of got injured. So her winning the title in her debut, knocking off AJ Lee, was a cool little moment and injected a bit of life into the then Divas division, with Paige being this new face and winning the title. 3, I've got Brock Lesnar returning to confront John Cena. Was this after Mania 28, I think?
Yes, I think so.
I feel like it was after Cena lost to Rock the first time. Brock came back and...
Yeah, it would be that one then. 2012.
Yeah, he came back and pretty. I don't remember reading any reports of him returning to WWE, but pretty surreal. Obviously, we watched, as I sort of mentioned before, Brock was one of the guys we watched growing up. So for a hot second, anyway. So for him to come back, it was pretty crazy to think, because he was obviously UFC champion and all that.
Yeah.
Number 2, Ric Flair's farewell. I was sort of watching a clip of it yesterday, and geez, it was so emotional. Ric Flair crying. All the superstars was like surrounding the ring. There was legends there, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, all those guys. Even the Undertaker came down in his gear, and they were all standing applauding Flair. So it was a pretty special moment, that one.
And then he went to TNA,
and then he didn't stay retired. But number 1 is Dolph Ziggler cashing in the and winning the World Heavyweight Championship from Alberto Del Rio the night after Mania 29. This one, that crowd went nuts. Like, what a reaction for Dolph Ziggler when his music hit. So, pretty special moment, that one, I'm sure, for Dolph, but it was pretty memorable for me as well. So that does it for the top 5. We'll get stuck into some Twitter and Instagram questions. If you have any questions for us, you can contact us on Twitter and Instagram at WrestleHunksPod. If you want to get in touch with Nathan directly, he's at Nathan Marlowe on Twitter, and I'm at EvilPrettyPrice. So we'll start with you, Nat. What have you got in store for us?
So I've got 3 questions, and I've got at Mark Will 0105. Why is Raw one of the worst programs on the USA Network?
Outside of Raw, SmackDown, and Miz and Mrs., I don't really know what's on the USA Network. So for me, it's definitely top 3 on USA. But I don't know.
He just thinks it's the worst.
Hey,
he just thinks it's the worst.
Yeah, I mean, I get what he's saying. Why is Raw not great? But I mean, I think we should hold off and we should wait until next week, see how the rosters shake out, and you never know, that Raw might end up having the better talent or putting on the better show than SmackDown going forward. We don't really know, so just wait and see.
So my next question is from at Cena section. Elias versus Taker at the Blood Show? Question mark.
Yeah, that.
Assuming that's the Saudi show.
Yeah, all the blood money in Saudi. That makes sense. It's at least it sort of leads to something, and
maybe in a casket match.
Yeah, knowing them, they'll probably do it. It's cool that Elias is getting put in that spot, and it'll be a cool moment for him. He gets to say that he's wrestled the Undertaker. So apart from that, it's not going to be a great match for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. Next one is at Hangman Natalie. Who is Paige's tag team she's bringing in?
Yeah, you sort of mentioned it before. I think it's going to be the Sky Pirates, Kairi Sane and Io Shirai. They both didn't come out as NXT Women's Champion at Takeover, and Kairi Sane felt, she's a former champ. She's done all that she can do pretty much in NXT, so I think she's going up, and they might take Io Shirai with her, so they have another tag team for the division. They probably need a babyface tag team actually on the main roster.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it could be Absolution, but it doesn't seem very likely, does it?
That'd be weird because they're already there.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, people did say Lita and Trish. I mean, depends what their schedules are like.
Yeah.
Maybe even we get the swerve of Mickey James and Alicia.
I mean, that would be something.
that would be a thing that happened. bro, it's gonna be Caitlyn and AJ Lee.
Oh, I've seen that. I saw people saying it's gonna be Paige and AJ Lee. Like Paige can't wrestle, so I don't know how it's gonna work.
That's all I got. Yeah.
I just got one here on Instagram from Aged Jeed. I don't know how to. I've probably butchered your name there, champ. So apologies. But he just wants to know who was the biggest star of the week, in your opinion.
Biggest star of the week. It's got to be Kofi, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think Becky's moment meant as much as Kofi's did.
Becky's moment meant a lot for the women in general. It didn't mean. I don't think it meant as much for Becky. It's cool that Becky had that moment and it's her that won, but like it's this big historic moment for all of the women's division. Whereas Kofi's moment was his, and it meant so much to see his journey from a million years, and he's finally on top. So I would agree with that. If I had to pick someone that was like, obviously not one of these bigger names, someone like under the radar, I think Ricochet starred throughout the weekend because of the great match he had at Takeover, and then I thought he was the MVP in the tag match at WrestleMania as well. So maybe Ricochet. So that does it for the question and answer sort of segment there. Is there anything you want to get off your chest before we get out of here?
Jeez, not really. Just been a really, really big week and just stay iconic.
Yeah. Hopefully people have got some sleep and they enjoyed their WrestleMania week, because I mean, overall, that's a good question. Did you enjoy your overall WrestleMania weekend?
I loved it. I couldn't have asked for a better WrestleMania weekend. Just really good wrestling.
Exactly. I agree. Very much the same as you, Nat. So, we'll be back next week, obviously, to recap Raw and Smackdown and anything else that happens. We've obviously got the Superstar Shakeup coming up, so plenty to talk about next week as well. Be sure to check out we've reviewed WrestleMania 22 on our other podcast, so that's in the podcast links. I'm sure they'll be under this one, so listen to that one. I don't know what we're reviewing at the moment. The poll will be up soon. I don't know if that'll be up by the time we get this podcast out, but if it is, vote in the poll. Help us decide what we review next week. So make sure you go and rate, subscribe, share this podcast. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube. As I said before, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Wrestle Hunks Pod. Nathan's on Twitter at Nathan Marlowe. I'm on Twitter at Evil Brody Price. And until next week, stay hunky.